The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 3,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 100 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Hey.
Welcome to the March 17th edition of One Nation Radio. You guys already know what it is. It is time to fire some more people. And of course, joining us for part 2, he was here for part 1, is the Doc Chad Matthews.
Hello, and thank you for having me again. I'm looking forward to finishing this project with you guys. It was a lot of fun the first go around, and I'm curious to see what kind of roster we end up with. For sure, man. James, what's going on, man?
Not much. Just over here being chopped liver.
Oh, man. Yeah, man, we got a lot to get to. So we're going to be talking about 205 Live. We're going to be talking about NXT and NXT UK. A quick refresher on everyone that we have still standing here across the main roster. We went through Raw and SmackDown last time. So for the men, we've got Braun Strowman, The Revival, Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Andrade, The Bar, Daniel Bryan, The Usos, The New Day, The Miz, Mustafa Ali, Rusev, and Samoa Joe. For the women, we have Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Ember Moon, The Riot Squad, Nia Jax, Natalya, Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks, Asuka, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Naomi. And on our bubble, we have Apollo Crews, Bray Wyatt, Chad Gable, Grand Metalik, Mickie James, Harper, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Carmella, Sonya Deville, and Nikki Cross. And we've got a lot of new information from the last time that we did this, so I'm sure some bubble people will be making some good challenges here. So we'll see how it all goes. So let's start right with a show that Chad is very familiar with, 205 Live. So you're writing the series right now, Chad. How's writing that series been going for you?
It's been fun. I've always been a fan of 205 Live. I think it's very simple. It's very NXT-like in its presentation. It does a good job of character building. It does a good job of making you want to watch week to week, because what happens week to week matters. So the series I'm doing is just ranking an ongoing list of the top 10 matches on 205 Live through 2019, hoping just to shine a little bit of a spotlight on the Purple brand. Doesn't seem like it gets much love at all. Maybe that's perception, maybe that's the time slot, maybe that's hosting it right after SmackDown goes off the air and has a dead crowd. A couple of weeks ago, if you watched, I think it was 2 weeks ago, you could see there was just this giant section of blue seats open, like right across from the hard camera, and it's embarrassing. But hopefully, like any movement, got to start grassroots and work your way up. So
Yes.
Hoping that the series I'm doing will help spread a little bit more love to the brand.
Yep, and that series is being written with our very own 205 Clive, so make sure you guys take a good look at that list if you guys are looking for a guide. So let's get it started, man. The first name up here, and I guess I can lob the names up, and then I'll be the deciding vote if it comes to it. Akira Tozawa.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead, Chad.
Oh, man. Can I defer to you, James, and hear what you have to say first? I think 205 Live is going to be tough because I love it.
Like,
but we're trying to whittle this stuff down.
Right, like Tozawa's awesome, and like there's no qualifier for that. He's awesome. Like he's one of the very best wrestlers they have in the company. But I don't know if it's my company. If it's my company, I keep him. If it's Vince McMahon's wrestling circus, they're never going to find a use for him, no matter how awesome he is.
Yeah,
because I mean, I think shouldn't we?
Can we put him on the bubble?
I think we should put him on the bubble at least, but I think in the midst of that, we've got to decide: are we integrating 205 Live guys onto this roster to be regular roster members,
regular wrestlers?
To be,
yes,
no cruiserweight division.
Yes. I say yes because Daniel Bryan is the WWE champion right now, and most of these 205 Live guys are as big or bigger.
Yeah, I would like to put him on the bubble for now.
Alrighty. The legend, the 205 legend, Arya Daivari.
Oh, my God. You want to take this one, Chad, or how you want to handle it? Because you deferred to me last time, and normally we have you go first. So.
Oh, well, he's a heel, and he's from here. He doesn't look like he's from here.
Oh my God.
He's fired.
or they strapped the rocket to him.
Correct.
But yeah, he cut. Like I know that ever since he was doing the Enzo thing or whatever, he's changed over and he's more, and he's a better character. But I remember that first year 205 Live. Got to go.
Man. I never want to watch Arya Daivari wrestle, although I think he may be like interesting, like some of the stuff he does. But sorry, Arya Daivari, you got to go.
Yeah.
The Brian Kendrick, the man with a plan.
Cut.
James.
Buy cocaine, Jesus. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. I said heroin, Jesus, but yeah, you still got to go.
Yeah. Brian Kendrick, you out of here, bro.
I can't forgive him for that. I'm a man with a plan deal with TJP. That whole thing at Hell in a Cell 2017, I think, or was that 16?
16.
Yeah, I can't. That was the most cockamamie plan I've ever seen, and it worked. Gotta go.
I mean,
sorry.
You can't really blame him if he caught a sucker. So.
Oh, well, I mean, TJP is no longer with us, but he would have been sent home too.
Correct. So, Brian Kendrick, you are out of here. Up next, the current WWE Cruiserweight Champion, Buddy Murphy.
I'm going to hang on to Buddy Murphy for sure. I like Buddy Murphy.
For me, he's a lock.
Yep, he's a lock. He produces pretty much anywhere you put him. So
yes. There are certain guys that like on 205 Live, like no matter what the situation is, like you can always bank on them to give you a quality match, and he's definitely one of them.
Mustafa Ali was the MVP as a character in 2018 for 205 Live, but Buddy Murphy was the in-ring MVP as far as I'm concerned. The quality of matches that he produces, he does the kind of match I want to watch.
He wrestles he wrestles like Iverson used to play. Like every match it could be his last. So he just put it all out there. I love it.
Up next, the former Cruiserweight champion, the man that held the belt for a year, Cedric Alexander.
Absolutely keeping Cedric Alexander. He is I described him recently in a Twitter post as like the Larry Fitzgerald of 205 Live. He just goes out there, does his job really well, and he's not the most charismatic guy. I don't know why everyone keeps expecting him to be. He just does things that no one else can do and does it really, really well.
James?
Yeah, he's a lot for me.
Yeah, he's a keeper. Dude's a super wrestler. he wrestles like my favorite kind of match, electric. So he's like, there's a spot for him.
Have either one of you caught Worlds Collide?
No, I saw it. Yep.
Okay, well, yeah, Rich, if you haven't seen it, I suggest I think it's the first round, you check out that match he had with Tyler Bate. It's another banger. So
up next, Drew Gulak.
He's a lock for me. I love Drew Gulak. I think he's got a combination of character skills and technical wrestling that, reflecting back on our list, I don't think we don't have a lot of those guys right now on our roster, and we need them.
Yeah.
James?
Yeah, I think so before Worlds Collide and also his little 1 week run where he beat the hell out of that freak show Bugenhagen, and then immediately went on and had a match with Riddle, he would have been a boat for me. Now for me, he's a lock. Like, he is a physical, technical wrestler that's super technical, but it's not like, oh my God, he's laying on the mat just putting people in rest holds. There is story, there is emotion in those matches. I really enjoy his stuff, and also with the versatility, like he could do virtually anything from a character standpoint, from managing to heel to babyface. So yeah, we need versatility.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and keep Drew around. I don't necessarily get excited by, he's not the flashiest guy in the world, but as you guys said, there's got to be dudes that fell out the ranks, and I don't think he's a bubble guy. He's young enough to be able to, put him to be in whatever role we need him for now and later, essentially. Up next, Gentleman Jack Gallagher.
God, I love Jack Gallagher, but I'm sitting here trying to think of we got 2 more rosters to go through.
It's been a drought.
And, some people have just got to go. I'm going to reluctantly put him on the cut list.
James?
I'm putting him on the bubble. He's too good. And then, I also think of it as, if he was on NXT UK, I don't know how many guys are better than him, but I don't know how many guys are actually better than him on that roster.
Let's go with the bubble. So, Gentleman Jack, you live to fight another day. Underhanded, that is. Because he is from England. Up next, one of my favorite guys, Dale Gas.
Yes.
Humberto Carrillo.
Oh, man. Go ahead and break my heart, Chad. Go ahead.
I'm going to put him on the cut list.
James.
How old is he again?
Let's take a look.
Because, he looks super young, but, you can never really tell with that because Ibushi looks super young. Yeah.
Ibushi's like 36.
Exactly.
This guy is 23 years old.
I can't cut him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't. He's too flashy. He's too good at already at this age. And you can make him a tag team dude. He has nice size on him. He's such a pretty boy that you can turn that up and turn that into a heel eventually too if you wanted to.
Yeah.
If you're the only thing in his way that I can see is the language barrier, if there is one. I haven't heard him talk, so I don't know if he speaks English or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we're at there.
Say a few words.
So I'll split the difference on this. Humberto would normally be a lock, but I'm just concerned about I'd be willing to put him on the bubble, but I'm trying to conserve these last spots.
Yeah. Put him on the bubble, and then we'll deal with that later. Some of these dudes are so talented. He's
Dale Gas.
Exactly.
If you haven't looked up his theme song, Chad, just go ahead and throw it on in the car.
Okay. I like to in my head when he's coming down to the ring, pretend that Ricardo Rodriguez is standing on the stage.
Oh my God!
It fits perfectly. Alberto Del Rio, Humberto Carrillo.
Oh man!
It works perfectly. So every time he comes down, I'm like, Humberto Carrillo.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you know this dude is Raw when his former wrestling name was Ultimo Ninja. He has to be Raw. You can't wrestle with that name and be sorry. It's just impossible. Up next, Mike Kanellis. Ooh.
Cut.
Bye.
Holla. Tony Nese.
This one's tough for me because I've really liked what Tony Nese has done recently in the ring. He is a hell of an athlete. He lives up to his nickname. And that match that he had with Noam Dar earlier in the year, probably about a month ago, was comfortably in the conversation for my favorite WWE match of the year thus far. Not quite on the level of the Ricochet and Johnny Gargano match from TakeOver Phoenix, but right up there. I loved it. So at the very least, I want to put him on the bubble. I'm still leaning toward cutting him because of roster concerns for who we've got coming up, but bubble for me.
James?
Yeah, bubble. Dude's really good. Like, and I have a question, Chad. What do you think about the potential of him possibly turning face relatively soon?
Well,
it's kind of in the works right now, isn't it?
You can see it coming, mainly because you go into this week not really knowing who's going to win this final in the cruiserweight tournament and if he ends up winning and facing Buddy Murphy, then the story in the coming weeks is going to be, I think, him kind of breaking out from the shadow of his workout partner. So you can see it that way. I could also see it not going that way. He's in a good spot. He's in a spot where right now he's just being Tony Nese, and that could translate either way as far as I'm concerned. If we were sitting here talking 4 weeks from now and it went either way really hard one way or the other, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'll go with a bubble for Tony Nese as well. I've always dug Nese pretty much from the CWC. He can do literally anything in the ring. He's a little dry on the personality. He has been historically, at least. But
put him in a tag team.
Yep, that is the answer. So maybe we can team him and Humberto up, and then
him and Gulak run that back.
So up next, that actually will complete our 205 Live. So we've got 3 guys that were locks, and we got 3 guys that were on the bubble, and a couple cuts here. So let's move on to NXT. Adam Cole, baby.
Absolutely keep him. Absolutely stay.
Lock.
Yep. Up next, Aleister Black.
Lock.
Another lock.
Another lock. I love Aleister Black's entrance. Yeah, I love Aleister Black's entrance because you have to rise the fuck up. Like, so. Up next, the Street Profits. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford.
I'm going to have to defer on this one. Honest to God, I've never seen a single Street Profits match. I don't watch the NXT Weekly that often.
Okay, so they are basically the young team that should in like 6, 9, 12 months be like the challengers or even the champions, and they get better almost every time you see them. Right now, I think so the first week of the Dusty Rhodes Classic, they just ran 4 matches between 8 teams, and all 4 matches were like 3 3/4 stars or above. And I remember saying to Rich in a thread, like, wow, like 7 of the 12 best tag teams in the company are all on NXT or NXT UK, and they're one of those teams. Like there's going to be I'm going to put them on the bubble because I'm not sure about like where we are as far as spots available left, but like I can't cut them outright. Like they're that good.
Yeah, Ford is a superstar. Dawkins is even getting better since their time in Evolve, and if there's a superstar on the team, I'm not I'm not about to cut you.
And the thing with Dawkins is it isn't like, all right, that dude is Bret Hart and Anvil, where like it's very much so like this is it's closer towards Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, where like one guy is a total superstar and the other guy like has something to add. Like Angelo as a tough brawling striker like he stands out at times, and he can keep up. He's not some bum.
Yeah. So, I guess we will put him in as a single. I'm having some trouble on how to do the Undisputed Era right now, but Bobby Fish by himself.
I am fairly underwhelmed by Bobby Fish compared to his stablemates. I have come to very much appreciate Adam Cole. I think Roderick Strong took the Undisputed Era to a different level, and I love Kyle O'Reilly. So I am fine given that we're going to have to cut some guys. If we're not putting Undisputed Era in as a group, then
the tag,
Bobby Fish.
I guess the tag team is still around, like Strong and O'Reilly.
Yeah, I'm fine. There are a lot more people I'd rather have on my roster than him.
Okay, so let's just do this. Let's say we're putting in Undisputed as a tag team, and then we'll worry about the minutia of whether it's O'Reilly and Strong or O'Reilly and Fish.
Okay,
can we do that?
Okay, let's just keep them in.
Because whatever tag team Kyle O'Reilly's in is going to be a lock anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So just Undisputed Era, the 3-man group. Treat them like the New Day.
Right.
Okay, so they're locks. Okay, Cesar Bononi.
Bye.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
Tall guy from Brazil, has the look, definitely needs more experience, but he can go for now. Lorcan and Birch.
I'd happily put them on the bubble. I rewatched their tag match with the Undisputed Era from last year's Chicago show here recently, and God, that's such a good match.
Yes. Yes.
I'd have a hard time saying no. I'd have a hard time saying outright yes, given the roster constraints that we are self-imposing, but bubble at the least for me.
Bubble.
James. Bubble. So, Lorcan and Birch. I will go with the bubble as well. This is going to be real competitive shortly coming up here. Up next, the man with the name that they change every week, Dominik Dijakovic.
I've got very limited exposure to this guy so far, but what I've seen, I'm impressed.
James?
He's a lot.
Yes.
Once they take the training wheels off him, like at Worlds Collide, ever since then, we are living in the Dijakovic world, or Dijakovic world. Feast your eyes.
Yeah. This guy, they had him doing security forever, like on the Largo Loop somewhere. I don't know who has kept this man just in a box for like a year. I don't know what they were doing, but
they was teaching him how to work
that long?
Yes.
He signed with NXT in like 2000, right after his match with Keith Lee in PWG. He signed pretty much right after that, and he has spent a year doing nothing, and then finally got the chance to get on TV.
Wow, gotcha. Well, he's impressive.
Eichner and Bartel.
So limited in exposure for me, I would have to put them on the cut list because someone's got to go.
James?
I'll cut them, but they deserve to be on the bubble.
I'm a bubble guy. Like
they deserve to be on the bubble.
Eichner
but I'd cut them.
Ridiculously talented.
Here's my thing, right? And on a bubble list, would you rather have them over the Street Profits or Lorcan and Birch on the bubble list?
Ooh, I look at kind of them like as three
all the
heads.
I mean,
they're all the same.
It is kind of yeah. It is. Yeah, put them on the bubble list.
Yeah, we'll go with Eichner and Bartel. Like Eichner's like one of my favorite guys that is just, I don't know. Like it seems like he shouldn't be as athletic as he is, and he is. And
yeah, because he looks like King Kong Bundy's son, except he's in shape. Am I lying?
Yeah, not at all.
No, you're not. I really liked him in the CWC.
Yes.
Yeah. He's back to doing that now, like in the last, since like the beginning of the year. He's back to being on that level as a tag teamer.
Hanson and Rowe, the War Raiders.
Lock.
Ooh, Jackson Riker of the Forgotten Sons.
Which one is that? Is that the guy that used to be in TNA?
Yes, that's Gunner.
Gotcha. I met him years ago. Nice guy. Still cutting him.
James?
Oh, they've forgotten.
Who? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Y'all got to go.
Live the gimmick.
Yeah. I might as well just cut the Forgotten Sons as a group right now and save time.
Yeah. Efficient.
I'm fine with that.
Yep. Johnny Gargano.
All right. Yeah, let's move on. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a lock.
And Chad, I'm hoping to, I can't wait to see him in the final against Kenny Omega in your March Mayhem tournament this coming week. Can't wait to see that.
Haven't booked it yet.
Oh yeah, huh? You haven't booked it yet, huh?
I was sad to see AJ Styles go down in round 1,
Yeah.
But
Simulator spit up. I had to have 7 upsets, and one of them was a 14-3.
Yeah, Rich pointed out to me how the simulator just all of a sudden like knocked out so many people in Seth's bracket. I thought that was interesting. I didn't pay attention. He mentioned it. I'm like, you know what? That is a funny simulation. It's crazy how that works out sometimes.
So our next guy on the list, the big guy, Keith Lee, the new big guy.
Lock.
Yeah, lock.
A Super Saiyan come to life.
Like between Dijakovic and Lee and Walter, like I can't wait till like Vince sees these dudes, because like I don't know how you can be that talented and be that size and then he just overlooks them. Like there's going like all the excuse people crank up for all these quote unquote indie guys being too small. All these dudes are 6'3" or taller, or 6'2" or taller. Ain't gonna be no excuse if they screw these guys up.
Yeah. Kona Reeves.
Oh God, who? Cut.
Hawaiian Ric Flair.
The Jinder Mahal of NXT.
Oh my God.
Kona
I haven't
Reeves.
seen him in months neither.
Kona Reeves, you out of here, bro. Yeah. Up next, Matt Riddle.
I lost you there for a second. Who?
Oh, I said up next, Matt Riddle.
Lock.
Lock.
Stone Cold Lock. And that was spot number 30. So we have 10 spots remaining, gentlemen. So,
yikes.
Oh, wow.
We get to NXT and they start flying off the board. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Up next, Raul Mendoza.
Cut.
Bye.
He's a cut, but he's super talented. Ricochet.
Yes. Lock.
Lock.
Super lock. One of the few guys that show up at NXT and actually sell tickets to the arenas, or tickets go up when he's there. Riddick Moss. Ooh, Lord.
Cut.
Sorry, brother.
You've been in NXT way too long, Chief. Shane Thorne, formerly of the Mighty Don't Kneel tag team.
Cut.
Gone.
Holla. Steve. Oh no, he's already been cut. Sorry, Tino Sabatelli.
Cut.
Cut.
He is super cut. No haircuts. Tommaso Ciampa.
Lock.
Lock.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolute lock. Velveteen Dream.
Lock.
Super duper lock.
And that
like you draft him first in the keeper league.
All right, that will complete our male talent in NXT, and we move on over to the female talent. Mind you, we have kept 12 women, so we have 8 spots remaining on this. So let's go up first. Aaliyah.
Cut.
Holla. Bianca Belair.
Lock.
Remember that keeper league we were just talking about?
Yes.
That's another one.
Oh man, Candice LeRae.
Sure.
James?
I don't really care though.
She's a lock. She just has to get away from her husband's bullshit.
They don't do
she's a great wrestler.
She
She has to just get on her own lane first, but she's a great wrestler.
Yeah, I think she's a lock. I'm too familiar with her work to do otherwise. Dakota Kai.
Another long sigh from me. Wow. I don't know. I've never really been all that big a fan, to be honest.
James.
They book her like a total geek, but she's really good. She's on the bubble for me.
Yeah, she'll go to the bubble. She's fighting injury issues, but she definitely has a fan base, and you can't say that for a lot of these like talents here in NXT. She's got stands. So Deonna Purrazzo.
I don't know much about her, but I've heard a lot of good things. So,
James,
I will defer to what you guys say on this one.
Okay, she's on the boat for me because as good of a wrestler as she is, she's also she's almost next to a zero as a promo. But she like bell to bell, like she just technically just great. But I put her on the bubble because like they haven't done anything with her really. And the real only thing you have to go on is her Mae Young Classic stuff, which is very good. But like if you haven't seen her, I don't know. But yeah, I understand why Chad's like that, but for me, she's on the bubble.
I've called her the Dean Malenko of women because she's just a wooden kind of personality, but she's an incredible, like, if you like holds and you like, working the limbs, like, she's a mastermind, but
I would consider that a compliment.
Yes. So I'll go ahead and put her on the bubble, just being conservative with the spots.
Wait, which Dean Malenko, like 96 or like 99 when they try to push him, when they try to give him that push in WCW, because that was bad, Dean Malenko.
Not that one.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure.
Up next, Io Shirai.
Lock.
Total lock.
I mean, she's only the best woman in the world, so...
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely on that shorthand list. It's either her or like Miko Satomura.
Yep. Jessamyn Duke.
Oh, man.
I haven't seen it. I hear about it. I hear about the potential that could be there, how natural some of these four horsewomen are. But I haven't seen it with my own two eyes. And if I haven't seen it yet, we don't have that many spots left.
James?
So. Yeah, I'm Cunner. I'm sure, like, they haven't done anything with them, her or Marina, so,
She's just a tall geek to me at the moment, so... I
mean, they beat her, they're just beating her left and right, so yeah, they are geeks.
So, Jessamyn Duke, you're out of here. Kairi Sane.
Lock.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen a woman, I was telling Richard before, Chad, I don't think I've ever seen a woman be able to, like, have a quality... like this number of quality matches with any old body, because I started watching Stardom in early January, and I went through some of the old stuff because they were shutting down their library because they revamped their website. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one. I don't think I've ever seen a woman have that many quality matches with anybody, regardless of age, experience, level of work. She's just amazing. Stone
Cold Lock, possibly the best babyface in wrestling. Like when she's in her element. Marina Shafir.
Got to say the same thing about her that we did about Duke. I don't see it yet. So.
Yeah, she's out of here.
Yeah, gone.
Mia Yim.
Doing a lot of sighing on the NXT women's roster.
That's why we are here, Chad. We are familiar.
I do not know, man. I would be curious to hear the argument in her favor, considering the spots we've got left in the upcoming roster we must discuss.
James, you have an argument for Mia Yim.
Oh, well, she's awesome in the ring. That's her argument. But I will put her on the bubble because I'm not sure about her knees, but because she did hurt her, she did have a tearing knee up last year. Yeah, But I put her on the bubble at the least. She's that talented.
I'll put it like this, Chad. She's one of the great unathletic wrestlers of all time. Like
she's on that kind of on that Becky Lynch program right now. Yeah,
like and Becky Lynch, like not a great athlete, great wrestler. Like same kind of thing applies to Mia Yim there. And if we were thinking about some guys, I wonder who that whole list would be, James.
Ooh. Well, right now the number one would be Tanahashi. Right now, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, Tanahashi ain't super athletic right now.
Like some of the people on Mitch are people that, like, I watch them wrestle and move around. I'm like, dude, like, can I spray some WD-40 in your knees, please? Because I can hear them creaking through my headphones, but they still get the job done.
Yeah, I'm gonna put on the bubble, just being conservative with these spots, and then it's gonna be a brawl at the end. It looks like.
Yeah.
So up next, the NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler.
Stone cold lead pipe lock.
Yep.
Freaking love Shayna Baszler.
She's everything that they might want Ronda to be right now.
I don't know why she's not on the main roster right now. I thought she should have been brought up at Royal Rumble to get a match at WrestleMania. Like, you know how dope Shayna versus Asuka would be at WrestleMania right now. Now we might get Mandy and Asuka and Mandy and Sonya, or we might get Asuka and Lacey Evans. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
The lack of something like that happening is one of the primary reasons why I'm watching Impact Wrestling in my spare time right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just had a Tessa Blanchard Jordan Grace match. I need to check that out. So the last three NXT women, I kind of see them all in the same bubble. So I'll lob all three of them up at once. Should we keep any of these women? Tainara Kanshi, Vanessa Bourne, or Xia Li?
No.
James?
I say put Zia on the bubble and the other two got to go.
I'm with you on Xia Li on the bubble. She kicks really hard and she's got a gimmick. So
yes, like if you have her come out there and do what she does best, which is throw strikes and be explosive, then you can get a good match out of her. If you have her, because she's only been wrestling for like 18 months, 20 months, or her first match like 20 months ago. But if you have her do holes and try to work, they ain't gonna work out for you.
Yeah.
At least not yet.
So that will complete NXT. So what we have left now, we are on spot number 35 for the men, and we are on spot 18 for the women. So this one is going to be the deal breaker here. So I haven't heard of all these gentlemen and ladies here on NXT UK, just in the interest of transparency. Actually, I have heard of all the women, all the guys. I've heard some of them. They are of the Jag persuasion, from what I'm gathering. So. So let's go through it here. Amir Jordan. Sounds like
in the same boat.
Sounds like a cut. He doesn't even have a wiki page.
Yep. He's a cut.
Yep.
Ashton Smith.
Cut.
Dave Mastiff.
Oh man, I kind of dug Dave Mastiff, but
I love
his
squash matches, but he's got to be cut.
We got a lot of bubble guys we still got to go through.
Yep.
So,
and he wasn't beating some of these bubble guys, so yeah, you got to go. I love his squash matches though.
Yep. Dave Mastiff, you are cut. Eddie Dennis.
Cut.
Yep. I'd rather have Mastiff than Dennis, so yeah, cut.
Nice talker, but we got some questions about the ring gear and everything else. So
yeah. Like you coming out wearing that does not like that even supersedes like the old stuff about you being envious of like the people that used to do all that stuff with in the indies. You got to go.
Send him to developmental.
Right. Flash Morgan Webster.
Cut.
Yeah, cut. Really talented, but cut.
I'm about to be ruthless.
Zach Gibson and James Drake, the NXT UK Tag Team Champions.
Lock.
James.
I'd go bubble, but yeah, they're really, really good.
I'll go lock. Both of those guys are really good, and Gibson was really good for it. When we talk about heels that can entertain you but not do a lot, but still not be boring, shoes off for Zach Gibson. So
he really does his job very well.
Up next, Joe Coffey.
He had an opportunity to put himself definitively in the lock list, and I don't know what happened toward the. I don't know. I've never talked to you guys about what you thought about the Blackpool main event, but I thought it started out like it was going to be something really, really good, and then it fell apart at the end, and I still don't know what the hell happened. But because of that, that was to me, to me, that was a hell of a spot to be put in. That's flaming out 0-4 in the NBA Finals.
James?
Yeah, I mean, the level of difficulty was a very high bar, and he couldn't cross it. But he was holding it in the road. He was holding it in the road for so long, and then like they got to like the last 8 minutes, and it just fell apart. Like he's only at a certain level. For me, he'd be a cut, but I do appreciate how good the match was. Like even with it falling apart at the end, like I thought it was still a great match, all things considered. But like they went too long, given what Dunn had to work with.
It's like he was in some water that was just a little bit too deep for him, but he really tried. I'll give him that, but he will be a cut here. So,
and the match is still great regardless of the 2 botches in it.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah, like to Chad's point, like I thought it started slow, then got great, really great, and then like
it went past the peak.
Yeah. So, up next, Jordan Devlin.
I love Jordan Devlin, man. Lock.
James?
Yep. Pocket Ballisgan is a lock. Yep.
Yeah, he's a lock. He's one of the best guys going.
Yep.
Joseph Connors, the Jag champion. If you listen to Joe Lanza.
Oh man.
I don't know who that is.
You're not missing much.
Yeah,
he's a cut.
Yeah, he's a cut.
Cassius Ohno.
He's on the UK roster?
He is there now.
Yeah, after Keith Lee elbowed him all the way over to Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I would have cut him either way, respectfully.
James?
Super talented dude. I'll put him on the bubble. He's going to get cut, but I'll put him on the bubble just to be nice.
He's a cut.
I can't let Finisher win. Because he treats him like he's a Jag, but he's not a Jag. He's really, really good.
Look,
but it's just
I'll say this.
Nah.
Like Cassius Ohno right now is the definition of we're going to start a dialogue. I think his best days are behind him. He's valuable as a veteran. As far as this roster goes, he's a cut for me. So
okay, all right.
We have too many other guys that are bigger guys who can.
Yep.
Who are bigger and younger and have way more upside.
I agree. I was just thinking of putting him on the bubble just out of respect, but he's not going to make the list anyway.
Yeah, he's still got to compete with like Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton and Chad Gable. So don't even see the point at this point.
Yeah.
So up next, we've got Mike Hitchman, the Wild Boar.
Cut.
Bye. Like I know people love the thing, but nah.
We got
like this.
Mark Andrews.
Look, this ain't Memphis. We ain't doing that over here.
Mark Andrews.
Cut.
James?
Yeah, he's not gonna make it. I like him, but he's not gonna make it.
I like him, but he's not gonna make it at this point. And the UK guys are like fighting for seed right now, essentially. Like, like, are you gonna be better than the bubble right now?
Yeah.
Ligero, he's a cut for me.
Cut.
Noam Dar.
I'm going to make a strong argument that we need to hang on to Noam Dar. I am a big fan of Noam Dar. I think that he's got youth on his side. He's already really, really good.
Is he even 24 yet? Is he even 24 yet?
He was 23 in the CWC.
Okay, so he's 25.
So he's getting on up there now. He's pushed past the 25-year mark.
Yeah, he's 25.
But I'm a big fan. I think he's done. Yeah. He is capable of having some really unique matches. And at this point, with the roster we've got, I want to see somebody who's going to give me some unique matches in sort of second spot on a pay-per-view kind of roles and if you catch my drift.
Yeah, like I would say that 205 Live, Noam Dar's immediate cut for me, but like when he came back with the rebuilt body and like that 4-way in the second night of the second UK tournament, and then like the opener or the main event opener of the first episode of NXT UK with Dunn. Like I thought I thought both of those matches were great. So for me, I put him on the bubble.
He's gonna be a bubble guy for me because I'm still staring down a couple locks that are like super locks, like not even negotiable locks. So but seeing him, as you mentioned, James, show up with like the rebuilt body, it shows like the dude like can be dedicated, and he's also a really entertaining character. Who didn't love that Alicia Fox stuff? Like that was hilarious. Like I'm sorry.
It's fun. It was funny like the first few times, and then obviously like anything in WWE like it's ran into the ground because like they have no subtlety. So
say it again.
Say it again.
Say it.
And you just know that like Vince was out there in the back howling every time he said it, all 589 times.
That cracks me up to this day. I loved that. That was great.
Up next, Pete Dunne.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, my God.
Yeah, like absolute lock. Might have had more like top-notch matches last year than anybody else in the entire company.
Super duper lock.
Yeah.
Sam Gradwell and Saxon Huxley. And any argument for these gentlemen?
Not for me.
Okay, so I listen to Shake the Ropes every week, and Jeff Hawkins referred to Saxon Huxley as Loser Brody. Nah, you gotta go. He was already done before then, but like he called him Loser Brody, and I was like, yo, I can't look. Obviously, he already looked like him, but now it's completely just done. He's done. Gotta go.
Travis Banks.
Ooh.
I like Travis Banks, but gotta cut him.
Yeah.
We in the deep water right now.
Too much competition. He's so good, but too much competition. Like my first time watching him was the second UK tournament, and I really, really enjoyed him. But he's got to go.
British Strong Style.
Oh hell yeah! I forgot about. Yeah, I'm going to be very honest in saying that Tyler Bate is one of my favorite wrestlers right now. I love watching that guy. I just watched him against Wolfgang from like the second week of the UK. I'm getting caught up on all this UK TV stuff that I've missed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like him and Pete Dunne have got this Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart thing going on in NXT UK where I think Tyler Bate's a little bit more diverse as a storyteller. I think he's more like in the Shawn Michaels role, and Pete Dunne's in the Bret Hart role. And it's like, take your pick, who's best. And I love it. I could just watch those guys, either one of them. But Tyler Bate's my favorite of the two. I'm a Shawn guy. I was a Bret guy too, but Shawn always was a little bit better than Bret, in my opinion. So,
James?
Oh, yeah. I mean, either way you want to put it, if you want to make a Mustache Mountain or if you want to just make it or Bate.
Excuse me, Mustache Mountain. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Either way they were locks, or either way, how that worked out.
I botched the tag team, but yeah, Tyler Bates, an absolute superstar.
Yeah, like how many? Is there a better babyface tag team in the company?
No.
Like unless it's DIY, I guess that's about it.
Like the way Seven can just get whooped, and then Bate comes in like just literally one of the best hot tags in the business. I think these guys are just incredible, and the day they split them up, it'll be sad, right?
Yeah.
It'll be sad, but we will always have these matches to watch, and then we will be able to anticipate the Tyler Bate push. So,
yep.
No offense, Trent Seven. But up next, Tyson T-Bone. Cut. Walter.
Oh Jesus! I forgot he was still out there. How many spots do we have open now? Just curious. I mean, he's a lock, but
he will be spot 39.
Wow. Okay.
James.
Oh, Walter's a lock. Like, I mean, were there 5 better wrestlers in the entire world as far as output's concerned last year?
he might be in that 6-7 range, but you know, I see your point.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Wolfgang.
You gotta like how far he's gone in the March Mayhem tournament. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised he got beat by Daniel Bryan, but you know, Daniel Bryan is back to being Daniel Bryan again. You know, so he knocked off that rust that he lost his athleticism. So I guess it made sense.
Yeah. So Wolfgang is our last guy. Are there any arguments to save Mr. Wolfgang?
Not really. I like him.
Fat dude that does flips. I'm always down with him, but it's too much competition out here, Jack. So
yeah, like we still got Gable and Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton around.
Yeah,
to tap the debate on that one. So yeah,
yep.
Well, really Rey and Orton, but you get my point.
So we only have one spot left for the guys.
We have one spot left to pick from on this bubble, and then we've got challengers. Like I've got the list here. If you guys would like me to send it to you and you want to review it briefly, I can do that. Of who's still alive, but let's.
How about this? Send that along with like the list of people that we've made locks, because we might have to unlock somebody.
I'll tell you one thing. If memory serves correctly, we have been very, very, definitive on everyone that we have locked, and it wasn't much of an argument for those people who we locked down. So I'm not surprised we only got one spot left.
Yeah. All right. So before we get to the decision portion, we still have the UK women. So let's go through there, and we've got 3 spots left for the women. We have Isla Dawn.
I don't know who that is, so I'm going to say cut.
Sorry.
Cut.
Yeah, out of here. Ginny, the fashionista, I believe that is her name.
Fashionista, man.
Fashionista. Sorry about that.
This is the portion of the podcast where I really have very little input to provide. So
okay. So she is one of the very best women on the UK. If she was over here, I think she'd be used kind of like she'd probably be facing Candice LeRae right now. That's the best way to put it. Like she would be like the mid card heel right now, as opposed to it's Shayna, and then there's really nothing else on domestic NXT. She's very, very good. At the least, I put her on a bubble.
I think she's a bubble. I've only seen limited work from her, and I've seen like both matches. Up next, Killer Kelly.
Still don't have much input to provide over here.
Okay.
Sorry.
I say that she's a cut.
I think she's good, but she's a cut.
Yeah, she's good, but she's a cut.
Nina Samuels.
Not very good, just good, but she's a cut.
Where we at, James? Nina Samuels.
Cut.
Yeah, she's a cut here. Rhea Ripley. Super lock.
Super duper lock.
Her and Toni Storm are the only ones I can really provide any input about.
Yeah, in the Futures League, given her age, like she would also be a high pick.
Toni Storm.
Lock.
Yep.
Super lock.
She should be out here fighting Asuka at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like her and Rhea both could both be doing that.
And our final spot, Zaya Brookside.
Put on the bubble. She's like 20, 21. She's good. She has potential to be very good or maybe even great, and she has a look like, with the hair and everything, and she's likable. She's very likable. But I don't know what her promo skills are.
I don't think they're good at all, actually. I think
okay.
I think I saw her send someone on Twitter asking fans to stop being mean to her about her promos. So
yikes.
So yeah, we've got, similar to the women, we've got 19 spots filled. I'm not sure if we went through the unassigned wrestlers list here. Includes Brie Bella, EC3, Lacey Evans. Did we talk about them last time?
We talked about them in the last show. Yep.
Okay.
We did. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, we're not doing the Largo loop, but or anything like that. But they've got some folks down there.
Yeah. Otherwise, like the last spot would be like Piper Niven, and we'd just be done. But yeah.
So, I'm going to pause this podcast. We will be right back, and I will send you guys over this list. All right, we are back. I've provided both James and Chad with the list here, so we've got some decisions. So, with one spot to fill on each, have you guys identified anybody that you would like to nominate for the last spot?
Oh, I know who I want to nominate for the male spot.
Chad, you got anyone?
I do.
Feel free.
Looking at a couple of options, but I want to nominate Randy Orton because I think it would be nice to have someone on our roster that we could basically have put everybody else over, who has a name that people know from a long time. Pretty much any time we needed someone to do a job in a relatively high-profile situation, I'd put him in that spot and then pay him pretty well so he doesn't get too terribly upset about it.
James, who'd you have?
Oh, Ray. You knew it was Ray.
Okay, so now we've got those two guys there. I lean towards Ray, just off the renaissance that he's had this year for the final spot. And Orton hasn't quite got that shot yet, but he is getting a marquee WrestleMania match. However, I present Randy Orton as a challenge to Rusev. Any objections?
Yes, I would object to that.
Tell me why.
I think that Rusev has proven himself capable of doing some things that we would want to have on our roster, and that is he can get over if we're pushing him like crazy. He can also get over if we're not pushing him at all, and that is rare. And considering how big and athletic he is and how charismatic he is, there is no way I'm giving up his spot for someone who is chronically under-motivated and whose greatest match was his first great match, and that being 15 blanking years ago. So
solid argument. Is there anything that Rusev gives us that like Keith Lee? I'm looking at all the monsters on the roster, right? I'm looking at Keith Lee, Dijakovic, Walter. Do we need a Rusev if we have those three?
Again, the charisma is what sets him apart to me.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, there's time invested in that. So, like, he's, like, I'm not saying necessarily there'll ever be a situation where there's a groundswell like how we have with Kofi right now, or hell, he probably already hit the groundswell with Rusev Day. But, like, he's somebody that, like, people know that, like, he should have got a shot by now. People know. So, like, when he eventually does, people are going to pop for it. Like, whether it's heel or face, they'll know that, like, he deserves he deserves more than just like a bum on a month shot against AJ. He deserves like a legitimate shot of like having a program for the title.
And if you're that concerned, just stash him in a spot, stash him in a stable or a tag team, and let those other guys rise to the top and get their shot.
And to be quite honest with you, there are other people that I'd rather nominate to be cut than Rusev from our lock list.
All right, who you got on your nomination for the cuts?
Oh, like I would offer up as a sacrifice Drake and Gibson.
Drake and Gibson. And who would get their spot?
Oh, there's one spot left, so this is to put Ray and Orton back in.
Well, Ray's in already.
Okay, so to put Orton in.
You don't get an objection from me on that. Because Orton,
I would object to that. I think that Gibson and Drake have, if we're going to build ourselves a hell of a tag team division, then let's put some guys in there that have proven they can go. Randy Orton's I like Randy Orton in the role that I described, but I mean that's about it. And I'm not, not real interested in seeing Randy Orton in a whole lot of high-profile situations, there's going to be a bit of a headache involved because Randy Orton's a bit of a head case. Maybe he's a team player, but it doesn't exactly fit within the atmosphere that I think that the majority of our roster, led by some of the guys that are going to be leading it, are going to try to cultivate. Randy Orton is looking at it like an NBA comparison. A lot of our roster are the types of are the KDs and LeBrons and of the world who are cultivating this sort of chummy AAU ball type. We've known each other for all our lives type thing, and Randy Orton's he's kind of a relic from a bygone era in terms of all the attitude and all the pissing and moaning and backstage shit, and even to this day, just the motivation screams at me at times that this is a guy who I don't know if I'm sacrificing a young up-and-coming tag team featuring a guy who, as plain Jane as he might look in Gibson, has the ability to break out and do some really quality things in our mid-card if we give him the right push. So
last summer I called Randy Orton the Carmelo Anthony of WWE.
That's a great analogy. Absolutely.
Like, you got to change the game if you want to stay around, and their ego ain't gonna let them, essentially be less than a certain place.
Except he already has taken a backseat role on SmackDown like the last entire year.
What's he done with it, though?
He had the Hell in a Cell match with Jeff. That was awesome. And then they said, oh, let's do nothing with you anymore. Let's put you on the back burner until it's time for you to do this thing with AJ. And then they went out there and they had an awesome promo just on Tuesday.
So he's had one great promo segment and one great match in 5 years?
In 5 years? You think he's only had one great match in 5 years?
Go back to the match he had with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31, and let's let that be the point forward. From that moment forward, what the hell has Randy Orton done?
He's done some good
I'm with you on the Jeff Hardy match. I'm with you on the promo.
He's done some good TV work, like that match with AJ Styles. He's had another good match against,
Luke Harper.
For example, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, these are good matches. These aren't, Randy Orton at his best. These aren't examples of Randy Orton adding something to the table that these other guys aren't going to go out there if given the opportunity and just totally smoke.
I think Chad sounds pretty convincing. Randy Orton is not joining this roster.
Yeah, but my whole thing is like I like Gibson, but like I don't like what's his ceiling? Like on his best day, will he be as over as washed up Randy Orton is right now? Like if we want to say he's washed up, whatever. On his best day, will he ever be as over as that?
Well, I think that's in a way it's kind of like that's kind of arguing apples and oranges because right now we've got him tucked into a tag team role. Could Gibson and Drake in a top-notch tag team division rise to the top as the number one heel group or the number one heels in, say, 2 years and tear it up with some of the guys we've already, with all sorts of different, they'd play a key cog at some point in our tag team division. And, Randy Orton's going to play a role, but, I don't know. It's definitely not something I'd be willing to replace. I'd much rather have the younger guys who are hungry than the old guy who...
What about the bar? Has the output ever really matched the reputation?
For the bar?
Yes.
I'm confused. Are you saying the bar isn't good or isn't good enough or overrated?
I'm saying if we're talking about people that have been around forever, that aren't young guys, we don't know what the ceiling is. Would we be willing to give them up based on everyone else that we have in this division that is younger, that is better, when you talk about tag teams?
Okay, so for me, I see the bar as the perfect heel team where they could be the tag champs today, or they could put somebody over tomorrow, and nobody would bat an eye either way.
I think you bring up an interesting point, Rich. Absolutely, because I think you could definitely bring up, well, why not slot the Street Profits in their spot? And we've got a young team with untapped potential in place of a team that's already hit its peak with two guys that have already hit their peak. That, to me, is an interesting way to look at that. I think that the bar could very easily start out, though, as right up at the top of our division moving forward from right now, play a really nice little role. And then both of those guys could break out and be doing solid mid-card stuff based on work that's already got a good, well-established reputation as being rock solid or better. So, I don't know. James, I don't know. What do you think? Would you lean toward, would you even consider giving up the bar?
I'm just thinking, like, off the top of my head, like, if we're doing a tag division, like, what are they at worst? The number 3 heel faction or number 2? They're either number 3 or number 2 behind only, like, Undisputed and Revival, right?
They also have really good size compared to these smaller teams.
Right, and they can lose to small guys and no one bats an eye, just how they lost to Ricochet and Gargano and DIY just a couple weeks ago. No one batted an eye because like they're that talented, and that's kind of like the thing with me with Randy Orton. Like Randy Orton's a guy that can throw around or can snap suplex Samoa Joe and then also like put over Daniel Bryan. And nobody bats an eye either way because like that person has the credibility as a worker to be able to stand up to big dudes, put over small dudes, and be believable either doing any of that. Like that's kind of like, so like to me the bar is kind of like tag team Randy Orton. So I'm kind of like
so one of them's here and one's not. So some look funny under the light right now. So I'm looking at this list. I'm trying to find a spot for Randy Orton. Like, and I keep scrolling by Drew Gulak. I keep scrolling by Cedric Alexander. Those guys are really good wrestlers.
I'm not cutting those two for Randy Orton. Not the whole idea is to have like to try to put on the best product we possibly can every single week in and week out.
Here's my definitive stance on Randy Orton at this point. Look at the fourth name on our list of the male roster members. Drew McIntyre is 5 or 6 years younger, has the same, if not better, a body, is far more dynamic an athlete. I think he can do what we need Randy Orton to do at Randy Orton's best right now, and he fits better with the roster we've got. He fits better as a psycho killer type of heel for this roster, and I think Randy Orton at this point is superfluous. We don't need Randy Orton. We got other guys who can do what Randy Orton can do now. Maybe Randy Orton at his peak, obviously, it's a different story, but I think I'd say
Orton's out of here. It looks like because everyone else I'm scrolling by is like, like Miz.
Now let me ask you this: like, can I challenge Rey Mysterio? Why are we is there an argument to make for like how old is Grand Metalik? Because I mean that dude is a baller, and he's a lot younger to my knowledge. Rey Mysterio's got the knees. The knees are going to catch up with Rey Mysterio soon again. And Rey Mysterio's going to backtrack and be the guy that he was in 2014 before too terribly long. It's fun while it lasts, but how long are we thinking it lasts? Another 6 months?
Grand Metalik is 30 years old, and he's, as I mentioned in the first one, he's been in the 3 biggest companies in the world and struggled to get pushed in any of them. Where Rey Mysterio can make us a bunch of money with merchandise and also being a draw, and if if we're the smart bookers we think we are, we will not break him down and run him into the ground.
Yeah, and also so far this year, based on output, he's at worst the second best wrestler on the main roster so far this year, based on output. Like it's him and Andrade in a tie for the top guy right now, and then like Kofi is somewhere after that because of the gauntlet matches and the stuff he's done in like the last month. but like right now, as far as output, that's what he's doing. Like what he's doing is just amazing. I mean, yeah, sure.
Well, if you like Rey Mysterio and what he can bring to you from a merchandise standpoint, well, let's put Humberto under a mask and let's let him start selling masks. He's 23 years old. You guys love him. All the upside in the world.
Yeah,
but
it is never that simple. Otherwise, like Lex Luger would have replaced Hulkamania, and we would have kept Lex Luger would have kept him running. Like we always say, there's somebody that can be replaced until they can't be replaced.
Well, Rey Mysterio is irreplaceable in the role that he plays, but he's also. I mean, this Renaissance run is great. I'm loving it, but we got 40 spots.
I think he's a lock. Like right now, just like based on how good he's been since he's come back, and this started like late last year, and he's great in small doses, and I wouldn't see it like really a reason to use him other than that.
Well, let's do this.
Like we're not asking him to be on top.
How many veteran legends do we have on the roster right now?
Not many, and the old rule is like you can have one, but you want to have a bunch of youth, and all of us, we have come for the old guys. It looks like there's no one here that I believe is on our roster aside from AJ Styles that may be 40 years old besides Ray. Yeah, the rest of this looks really young if you want to count Bobby Fish as a part of a tag team Undisputed Era.
Fair enough. Legends
only they stink when they can't go anymore, and Ray can still go. So let's figure out who's going to be our final woman here. So looking at the bubble list, I would like to nominate Sonya Deville for the last spot.
I like that suggestion. I'm going to nominate Mickie James for that last spot. I think we would be wise to have someone in a veteran status who could put over some people if we needed. I mean, we got a hell of a women's roster. No question about that. We got a hell of a women's roster.
Yeah.
But if I'm building up Ember Moon again, I'm putting her over Mickie James for a couple of months. If I need to, for whatever reason, keep Sasha hot, but while we're putting her on the back burner, I'm throwing her up against Mickie James for a little while. We'll have some good matches. Mickie James can come out and talk about being a 6-time champ or whatever heck that she is. And, she's still got some pretty solid athleticism for someone who's pushing 40. So.
James?
Yeah, before we started this exercise, I had her as a lock, and then we put her on the bubble. So for me, if you want to put her on a lock, if you want to put her back in there, fine by me, because I had her as a lock.
All right, Mickie James, our final woman here. So, looking at the list, our total list of women here, we got Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Ember Moon, the Riot Squad, Nia Jax, Natalya, Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks, Asuka, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, and Mickie James. That looks super solid.
Okay, so now that we went over the people that made the list, are we sure there's nobody on the bubble that we can put in front of Nia?
Let's take a look. So,
because we had this conversation before that monstrosity happened at a fast lane, and she was already for me. I was like,
I actually heard someone. I think it was on Omikaze, Wrestling Omikaze. The guy John. He said, "Think about this with the tag team of Nia Jax and Tamina. Nia Jax is the good one in the tag team." Just think about that.
Oh my god.
So the first woman coming here would be Carmella that we would put there.
Jeez.
I was the big defender of Nia Jax. I still think, she's a Big Show in 2001 type humbling away from figuring it out and, realizing that her shit does indeed stink. and that you clean up her act a little bit. She's still got a lot of potential, and she is so vastly different. She's not like most of the girls on our roster, and it'd be helpful to have someone like that.
What I'll say is there's nobody on the list that I see that like I would pound the table for to fight over it. I just hope she doesn't break anybody else's up while botching. That's all I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I would keep Nia. I'm looking at Nikki Cross and I'm saying no. I'm looking at Mia Yim and saying no, even though Mia Yim is like infinitely a better wrestler.
Yeah, like I would like 9 times or 10 times out of 10, I'd much rather see Mia Yim on a card than Nia Jax. But it's like, there's something that she brings to the table. Well, like there's something that she brings to the table as far as just the physicality that Mia can't do. She can give you a well thought out, well put together, thoughtful match.
Thinking woman's
match.
That's
great. But like as far as like being able to have one of these matches where it's like, oh my God, this woman's fighting for her life. Like with some of the stuff she's done with Bayley or with Sasha or with Ronda, Mia can't do that.
Yeah. So the other ones I have are Xia Li, Jenny, and Xia Brookside. I'm no on all 3.
Yeah, Deanna, same thing.
And Deanna as well, and Dakota Kai.
Yeah, so I guess she stays.
So our women's list is finalized. All right. Now, to finish this off, I guess we can go through one last round of cuts. I'll just nominate these guys as far as challenges. Apollo Crews.
I'm not making a case for him at this point.
Nope.
Bray Wyatt.
Hell no.
I'm a fuck no on that one as well.
I'm a fair enough if that's the way you guys feel about it. I'm not going to argue it.
I'm like, so he debuted at SummerSlam 2013, right?
He did.
We figured out his entire act, but like how fast, James?
Like a month. So, but this is more like he's over. So it's like, like now everything's for us, right? Like, but at the same time, you look at it, it's like every program he's ever been in, he's never got the other person over, and he's never got himself over either, regardless of like whether he won or whether he lost or what have you. Like that Dean Ambrose thing after they did that to pull him away from Seth Rollins at that Hell in a Cell match. Like, it was just nonsense.
Yeah. Exploding TVs.
Yeah, like that whole entire thing was supposed to be like a take on what they did with Shawn Michaels Undertaker during the first Hell in a Cell match, where Shawn screwed him by hitting him in the head with a steel chair, and then Shawn was like, I don't know if he was pretending whether he's a good guy or bad guy, and eventually he kept hitting Undertaker in the head with chairs, and then the whole match leads to, I beat you from pillar to post, and then I get you in the cell, and then I'm going to hit you with this chair, and I'm going to finish you, and the cane comes out. The whole thing was, with Dean and Rollins was, I murder you with my head stomping or curb stomping you through cinder blocks. What do? We get to the end of that match. I have your head on the cinder block. I'm going to get my sweet vengeance. And then what happens? That fucking light show comes out. And did we get a Kane Undertaker build or anything of like as memorable as that? Even not even saying that match was good at WrestleMania 14 because it wasn't. But anything memorable that you remember? No, we got pure shit from start to finish. I was off of him before then. Now it's like he's irredeemable. Like Brock Lesnar finagled his way to get away from not having a feud with him at WrestleMania. Nobody wants to work with that dude on top that has to say so. He's deaf.
Yeah. He's a guy you hope that your favorite wrestler doesn't have to wrestle. I've used that like kind of analogy before.
You're stuck in the mud for 3-4 months at a time.
Like there's a guy you don't want your favorite wrestler to wrestle because he's going to lose to him. That would be like Psycho Sid. This one would be your and that person would be awesome, like being Sid. But with Wyatt, it's like I hope my favorite wrestler doesn't have to spend 3 months with him. That's why with Rollins, I remember after WrestleMania 33, I was like, he can't get away from Bray Wyatt fast enough, and luckily they wrapped it up.
Remember what they were going to do with Finn Balor and him?
Yes.
Sister Abigail and the Shroud.
They were going to ruin Finn Balor's career. They were going to ruin Finn Balor's career, Chad.
Remember when he poured blood on him like he's the brood, and then they called it this viscous acidic liquid instead of blood, even though it looked like blood. Jesus Christ! Like the
horrors of 2017 are.
Oh my God! What was
the House of Horrors?
House of Horrors, that's what it was. Yeah, just Jesus Christ.
That match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 33 is one of the worst WrestleMania matches ever.
And think of how well built that thing was. Aside, like, obviously they shot a double turn angle without actual double turn, but like if you go to like they're the two final Survivor Team SmackDown in the main event and the main event tag match in Survivor Series. Then they're like two of the last three people in the Rumble. Like that is that's supposed to be.
They gave
like,
them a silver platter
decoration
build.
heft. And then they did that angle, and they shot a double turn angle. They didn't do it. Bray Wyatt's putting on blackface in the ash. And then they went and did that projector show, slideshow shit at WrestleMania, and like what Rich has called the worst WWE title match in WrestleMania history. Nah,
look it up.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Anytime we can roast Bray Wyatt, we pretty much do.
He's AJ Burnett. He can eat up a lot of innings, but his ERA is gonna be 4.5.
So up next, Chad Gable, hell of a wrestler, but
yeah, it's a shame, but
yeah, sorry, player. Harper.
If he'd spent the last 5 years not getting hurt all the time, I might have a different opinion, but I just can't trust it. And we got other guys who are his size, who are just flat out better and more reliable right now. So
and younger.
It's a shame.
I'm looking at Dijakovic, and I'm like, well, I'd rather have Dijak right now going forward.
Yeah.
We've already been over Randy Orton. It looks like he's not joining the roster. And with the Jack Gallagher, any argument for this guy?
Literally, we go through this whole thing. There's not a single person I'm just looking at it here that I could possibly make a case for. But with the roster we've got, but I love a lot of these guys that are on the bubble. Jack Gallagher's right at the top of the one. If we had 41 roster spots, I'd love to put him on there.
Yeah. Like that's the point. That's the point of this whole exercise, is to display like how much freaking talent WWE has by just cutting, going through the 5 brands and cutting down to 40 and 20. Like they're loaded. Like you can start up a pretty good damn wrestling federation with Jack Gallagher, Chad Gable, Luke Harper, and whoever else, Humberto Carrillo, whoever else you want to name, like Randy Orton, like
that's
like you go out there, you have
itself.
a main eventer right there with Randy Orton if you want to start a fed.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of talent they have.
I'm gonna just run through these last names here: Humberto Carrillo, Tony Nese, the Street Profits, Lorcan and Birch, Eichner and Bartel, and Noam Dar were the last of the bubble. I don't see a real challenge for any of them here. Though, besides that, Miz is a guy that's there that is the best at being the Miz. So, you're not gonna find anyone to do what he does. So.
Yeah.
I think we have come to a consensus, gentlemen. So I will read off the men's roster, our final roster, the people who have survived the cuts here. And this was a really fun exercise. So we've got Braun Strowman, The Revival, Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Andrade, The Bar, Daniel Bryan, The Usos, The New Day, The Miz, Mustafa Ali, Rusev, Samoa Joe, Buddy Murphy, Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, Adam Cole, Aleister Black, The Undisputed Era, Dominic Dijakovic, The War Raiders, Johnny Gargano, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Ricochet, Tommaso Ciampa, Velveteen Dream, James Drake and Zach Gibson, Jordan Devlin, Pete Dunne, Mustache Mountain, Walter, and Rey Mysterio. That is our male roster. And for the women, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Ember Moon, the Riot Squad, Nia Jax, Natalya, Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks, Asuka, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, Toni Storm, and Mickie James. That is a hell of a roster.
It is.
Yep.
So
I think we deserve a round of applause for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, so right. Hit us up. Let us know if there's anybody on the cut list or the bubble list that you guys really feel should be on there. And I think Orton's the kind of the jaw dropper here out of everyone. Yep. And you know, you can argue like the 3 tag teams we left off: the Street Profits, Lorcan and Burch, Eitner, Bartel. You know, if they were to take the bar spot in any one of them, I wouldn't blink because we would get the same, you know, match quality, I feel like, at least. But yeah, thank you guys for doing this show here in this project with me. This was really fun. I had kind of a vision of it, and I think we saw, you know, how overloaded these guys are.
Yeah,
indeed. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Now all we got to do is like get rid of that 3rd hour Raw. Consolidate the tag divisions and the women's divisions onto just one show and one show only. Like, just put all the tag teams on SmackDown, put all the women on Raw, and then give Triple H the keys and tell Vince, get the fuck up out of here. And I think we go out here and start you know, having classics.
Yeah.
Every, you know, like every other week, just about.
Literally. Chad, anything?
Coherent storylines.
Yeah.
They have a beginning, middle, end, and a logical view and a logical through line. Yeah.
Chad, anything you want to plug while you're here?
Sure. The last time I was on here, you guys hinted at whether or not I wanted to plug something that was maybe happening, and it has happened. The Doc Says podcast is back. It's on Sunday mornings when it's available on LOP Radio. The Doctor's Orders is covering a lot of different stuff nowadays. It's mostly just lists as compared to some of the stuff I wrote about in the past. But I'm trying to kind of pair them up, the Doc Says podcast, and then something that is talked about on the Doc Says podcast with the column or list. The column's usually going to come out on Monday, the podcast on Sunday. Then, of course, the WrestleMania era book series, including the most recent, The Greatest Matches and Rivalries of the WrestleMania Era, is out there and available. And the audio book version of that will be coming out right around SummerSlam time. So stay tuned for that.
Nice. So you go into the studio and done the audio book. That's really tight.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's been a fun project. It's time consuming.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a fun project. Hopefully everything will go smoothly and the SummerSlam date will happen.
Nice. Yeah, man, the last audiobook I got is Brian Alvarez reading The Death of WCW. It's just hilarious just to hear like how regular he reads it as compared to like his real voice while he's trying to say these lines that are hilariously written in the book. So, yeah, I would advise anyone to check that out. But anyway, that's going to wrap the show up. James, you got anything you want to add before we get up out of here?
Oh, yeah. Started an NXT show called NXT Then Now Forever on the Social Suplex Podcast Network every Friday. I go over that week's episode of NXT and also go back and do a retro review of the show from 5 years ago that week as well. Kind of talk about where the people in the retro show kind of are in relation to the wrestling world now, and I'll talk about whatever funny things I come across and whatever great matches I see.
Yeah, man, I was on the show last week. It kind of was a last-minute emergency, and I had a good time. So that one's usually a quick listen, probably like 50 to 60 minutes. So, yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening to us here over on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Of course, join us in New York City the day of WrestleMania for our watch party, Suplex Mania. We'll be at the Hooters on 33rd. If you want to come out, watch WrestleMania, we're going to be having some trivia and giveaways and all that. So, as well as recording the live podcast. So, we're going to do it up and have a whole bunch of fun that weekend. So, if you are in New York or heading out there, make sure you hit your boys up. So, that being said, make sure you guys check out all the other great shows here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Of course, Sundays, you got One Nation Radio. Mondays until April 1st, we got the Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast. Tuesday, we got Keepin It Strong Style. Wednesday, we've got the Ricky and Clyde Wrestling Podcast. And every other Wednesday, we've got Grown Men Watch This Shit. Thursday, do we have a Thursday? We've got Omega Luke again. Friday, I'm doing this all off the top of my head, can you tell? So Friday, as James mentioned, we've got NXT Then Now Forever, and Saturday we've got All Things Elite hosted by Floyd Johnson. So make sure you guys keep listening to us and rocking with us. We out of here. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for listening to One Nation Radio. We'll see you next time.